Checkout tracking by the NPD Group brings you a receipt collecting system that gathers data anonymously through technology we created, providing your businesses with answers.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joanna Sammartino Bailey, and I'm Global Chief Revenue Officer at Growmobile by Perion, and I'm very excited to be talking to you here today. I hope everyone's having fun at Casual Connect. I wanted to start out by telling you a joke that my son told me. Why did 6 run away from 7? You must have a child.
7, 8, 9.
Exactly, because 7, 8, 9. And the reason why I thought that this was, no laughs? The reason why I thought this was relevant is because it's really a numbers game. It's always about the numbers, and I thought that was a great segue into what we're going to talk about today, which is getting the most out of your valuable resources. 2 centuries ago, mankind discovered electricity, and it changed the world. Electrostatic generators, positive and negative currents, and that was just the start. Scientists were intently focused on finding ways to get electricity, like Benjamin Franklin over here and his famous flying a kite in the middle of a rainstorm with a key attached to it, and apparently with a gaggle of cherubs with him as well. And what he discovered is that lightning is electrical. And scientists continue to try both conventional and unconventional sources, like rubbing fur on glass, capturing currents in Leyden jars. And yet they found that they were not able to capture it and keep it. And one of the most famous experiments is Stephen Gray's Flying Boy, where he proved that the human body can generate electricity. That's a pretty complicated way to do it when now we know you can just scuff your feet on a rug and touch a doorknob. And none of these ways were very efficient, nor reliable for an ongoing flow of energy. And of course, that's what's necessary for it even to be worthwhile. And while important, their focus was very one-sided, and there was only one man who focused on how do we keep this energy, and his name was Alessandro Volta. He's an Italian scientist, or was rather, and he created the first battery in 1800. And here he's presenting it to Napoleon, who clearly is not scaled to size here. And he was awarded many honors by Napoleon. And in fact, the Volt is actually named after Alessandro Volta. And as an Italian, that makes me very proud. So now they knew that they had a valuable resource, and they could focus on ways to use the battery. And what's so interesting is that even though the battery continues to evolve, it really hasn't changed too much since then. And companies worldwide still struggle with ways to find energy and capture it and keep it. And a modern day example is the electric car maker Tesla, who uses batteries to power their absolutely beautiful cars. And also, how many of you have a portable battery charger? Wow. I don't leave home without this. And those of you who don't have one, please come by booth 112 and you can borrow mine. At Growmobile, our goal is to help you acquire and get the most out of your users. And we all know that, that your mobile marketing ROI is impacted by your CPI and your LTV. And rather than finding the challenges of them, we find ways to actually maximize both of those to get the most out of your ROI. And how do we do this? We do this first by understanding your marketing pains. Pain number 1, user acquisition costs. They have skyrocketed, they're monumental. In this year alone, they've gone up by 60%. The average cost in July for a CPI was $2.50, going up to $3 in the US. This is not the kind of hockey stick growth that you want. And while this reflects continued surging use of apps, marketers still have to find a way to get the right users and engage them for long term. And that's challenging. And a big part of that is adopting the right users at the right time with the right message. Another pain, all the multiple traffic sources to get your campaign going. On average, gamers must use 20 different ad networks to get their campaign to scale and maximize. That's 20 insertion orders. That's 20 different integrations. That's a lot of work. And in the advertising industry, which I also come from, on average, a media planner would have to access about 9 different platforms to manage their campaigns. Separate IOs, integrations, the data, often you're pulling it from multiple sources. It's not normalized. It really doesn't leave a lot of time for optimization. Often, you figure it out and your campaign is done. And once you acquire users, then you have the challenge of retaining them. You drive installs only to see them coming out like a leaky bucket. Many people post-app install are gone. And often, 20% of apps are only used once. Just once, after all your investments. And 90% of the time, users will never, ever engage with your app again. Are you guys starting to get depressed now? And most smartphone users have about 50 plus apps on their phone, and on average, they use about 5. Retention is hard. And then after a year, the average number of users that you will retain is about 11%. So you really have to maximize that 11%. A great example is Fallout Shelter, one of the biggest launches in 2005. It became the top 10 grossing game overnight, and 3 weeks later, it struggled to remain just below 50. Too many messages, too many of them disengaging. It frustrates users, and it's really hard to keep them involved and want to use your apps. And then income comes from a narrow few. In the gaming industry, 50% of a mobile gamer's revenue comes from 0.15 of the users. I at first thought that was 15%. 0.15. So forget about the 80-20 rule. How about the 50.15 rule? That's why it's so important to seek and retain those tier 1 whales and engage with them for long term. And sure, you want to better engage your users, but managing the mobile efforts can be very challenging. You have operational pains. It takes many days to actually get your campaigns going. There's QA, there's trafficking, multiple IOs. BI is involved. And then determining how to best engage with them, that requires a steep learning curve. You have to see how they're engaging with their app. What are they doing? How often do they use it? How much time do they spend? Often by the time you figure it out, your campaign is over. And you all know that increasing the lifetime value and decreasing the CPI increases the ROI. It has a very positive effect on ROI. And at Growmobile, what we do is we develop a complete solution for user acquisition and engagement. We help you get them. And how do we do that? Targeted, customized content that's relevant to them. And then once you have them, we help you keep them. Get them, keep them. And that's based on what we know about them. What kind of message cadence works for them? What are their behaviors? What are their demographics? What are their preferences? And then on the acquisition side, we offer multiple things. We offer centralized media buying, campaign management. We have access to the top 50 traffic sources. You can access all of them in an easy platform, one IO, one point of contact. I came from the media buying world. It would have been life-changing for me if my media buyers were able to actually have time to think and add insights to their campaigns, could act on them in real time, could actually provide those insights to clients. It's something that is really challenging and probably one of the most important things that you can do. And then you layer in social campaigns, Facebook, Twitter, and actually I'm very proud to say that tomorrow we will also be, we also have Instagram available, which is very exciting. Also, all of your data is in one format, in one place, and as I mentioned before, normalized, scrubbed, so it's easy to access as well as do apples to apples comparison. No more multiple Excel spreadsheets and pivot tables. And also, you can access it through self-serve or fully managed, whatever suits you. Do you want to drive the car or do you want to be driven? And then there's our easy optimization. With all that information, you can optimize in real time and do things that actually have impact and make an effort on your users continuing to use your app, so your app is one of those 11% that they're loyal to a year later. And then we focus on keep them. Once you have them, we'll help you keep them with our Easy Smart solution. Easy because you can easily build multiple efforts, track and optimize in one user-friendly platform. And Smart because we provide access to tested and evolving LTV models, customizable templates that you can use, churn predictors. And that makes the learning curve much smaller. Growmobile is like a battery that can help charge your business, all while hitting your KPIs, decreasing your cost per install, increasing lifetime value, maximizing your ROI. It's like a mobile marketing alphabet soup. And there's also a halo effect when you pair acquisition and engagement. You track users' behavior to the acquisition source, you can optimize and you create lookalikes. You can get more users through virality and create organic growth. And engagement, you can encourage users to share, to write reviews, to invite friends. So if your CPI is $10 and you invite 9 friends, it really is $1. And by using these things in tandem, you'll be able to provide those insights back to your marketing team, and you can make a difference for your app. And then we can retarget those who are about to churn, those who haven't realized their LTV. Again, when you combine the user acquisition and the engagement efforts together, it's a perfect pairing. And you can do that through Growmobile. And while there's no magic formula for operating your apps, by working with Growmobile and accessing acquisition and engagement together, we can help you make the most of your marketing campaigns and keep those long-time users engaged with your app and monetize and increase your ROI. And we're so convinced that we can do that we are offering a free offer for the first 30 days on our platform for Casual Connect attendees only, exclusively. And I'd love to tell you a little bit more about that offer, as well as my colleagues, and we are reachable at booth 112. We'd love to see you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? No. I was really good then.
We got a question back here. Hold on.
So we found that sometimes, you know, with some of the partners, the players start to get a little fatigued with the messaging. And you said that you have that there's some way that you can know when the messaging gets a little bit, when players get fatigued with that, and how do you guys figure that out?
Well, through our platform, you can actually access and review the creative and see how different creative is performing. And basically, you can swap out creative that perhaps is no longer working or resonating with the user. And it's actually very real time. So you can change it and continue to change it through the lifetime of the campaign. And creative actually is something that's really challenging because many folks can't create thousands of iterations of different creative components, but with our platform, you can actually develop them pretty quickly. And then if you see if they're not working, you can swap them out pretty quickly. The other thing is we can provide best practices on what type of creative works best for your goals and work with you to continue to change them during the lifetime of the campaign.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I mean, what if the player sees the same, you know, different creative, but it's the same game? So after a while, they're like, yeah, I've seen it. I already know this game. I'm tired. I'm never going to click on this again. So I guess I was just wondering what you do at that time.
Well, we actually monitor things, as I mentioned, and we can make sure that there's a maximum number of times that someone can see creative or be on top of it. Whether or not you're running your campaign on your own, you can actually change it out when you think it's appropriate, or you can work with us in a fully managed perspective and make sure that we know at a certain point how many times a user you're expected for them to see the ad. Otherwise, it just doesn't resonate with them. And we'll make sure that there's only the maximum value that they get out of it, and then we churn and put a different ad.
Anybody else?
When
Are you talking about paid campaigns on media channels, or are you talking? You're recording. Okay. Let me start over. For CRM campaigns, are these campaigns that I would be buying on other media channels, or is it in-app messaging that you can help me manage for, retention, get people to spend more, buy more, play more?
It's basically the ads that you buy. You choose the traffic sources that work for you, or you can rely on us to choose them for you. And they'll see it within that platform on different traffic sources.
Okay, so this is all purchase media. It's not anything running inside my app for CRM.
It's both, because you can actually also, within CRM, we can actually look at the ads that would resonate with the user and offer those ads. And they're usually things like push ads, opportunities, free usage, coins, etc. And that's part of the keep 'em. And we'd love to talk to you a little bit more in detail if you want to come by.
Okay, did you have one more? Maybe one quick question still.
The previous panel talked about difficulties in attribution analysis, specifically in non-US networks. Has that been a difficulty with you, and do you use any sort of extrapolation to project the attribution analysis, or what do you do in those situations?
For acquisition, the Growmobile focus in the past year in the US has been with games, and a lot of them actually abroad. And one thing that we've done really well is look at the data on an ongoing basis and actually look at the attributes that are most significant for your app, and then look at best practices around those. And it's more of a ongoing analysis to let things gel and continue to upgrade the campaigns. And for the most part, we're constantly developing analytics and new ways to look at things. And a lot of it also depends on the relationship we have with our clients and making sure that we have an ongoing dialogue with them to know what their KPIs are and making sure that we're looking at that, because it depends on, for the most part, people want to have the lowest CPI and the longest LTV, et cetera, and acquisition to remain. And we basically have to just make sure that we understand what their goals are and continue to look at the data to reiterate campaigns for future and ongoing efforts. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Joanna, and let's give her one more big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.